All right, last section. The bigger picture. Ricoeur's discussion of the self, world, and God are extraordinarily powerful contributions to three of the most important inquiries in philosophy. At first glance, Ricoeur's contribution looks theoretical. He appears to be advancing new theories of self, world, and God. But while Ricoeur has a great deal to teach those doing theoretical work in these areas, his real contribution is to fuse two pictures, two general approaches to philosophy. Ricoeur even suggested that the two are the fundamental pictures available to us. That at bottom, there are two philosophical styles, that of the philosophy of absolute knowledge and that of the philosophy of limits. Ricoeur's goal is to understand these pictures not only ones against the others, but ones through the others. He seeks to synthesize two pictures that are invaluable but one-sided, in the hope of articulating a more flexible and more complete view of reality. Synthesize, of course, does not just mean combine. Ricoeur does not just wish to tack on one set of theories onto another, to combine Kant and Hegel's claim about God into one super theory, for example. His goal is to explore possibilities for thinking, to articulate a new way of approaching philosophical questions that learns from two older approaches while avoiding their limitations. Interestingly, Ricoeur's discussion of worldhood provides a helpful way of understanding this synthesis. Narratives, like Ricoeur argues, disclose new worlds. They reveal a set of existential possibilities that might be incorporated into our own lives. But before they can reveal anything to us, they must be applied to our specific situations. Similarly, synthesizing two pictures is a way of opening up new possibilities for thinking, new ways of approaching philosophical questions. But synthesis depends on application. We cannot learn what a picture offers until we let it speak to our own set of concerns. Ricoeur's concerns often have sources that would be foreign to Kant and Hegel. His insistence on seeing collective entities such as subjective spirit as composed of intersubjective acts derives from Weber and from phenomenological traditions. His belief that the self is alienated from itself by virtue of the body comes from phenomenology as well. Neither of these concerns appear in the writing of Kant or Hegel, but the fact that Ricoeur has these concerns lead him to notice resources in Kant and Hegel that these thinkers themselves may not have recognized. Ricoeur shows that seeing what a picture can do involves letting it speak to something in us. What does it all show about doing philosophy historically? I believe Ricoeur can teach us two main lessons here. The first has to do with the nature of philosophical pictures. As I discussed in chapter 1, it is easy to verify pictures. It is easy to think of the Kantian or the Hegelian pictures as unchanging bodies of dogma, sets of claims endorsed by every Kantian or Hegelian thinker. As I have argued, it is more plausible to think of pictures as dispositions or as tendencies to approach philosophical problems in certain characteristic ways. Ricoeur's example help us to see pictures in this non-reifying way. Though Ricoeur is drawn to both Kantianism and Hegelianism, he is adamant that these are not doctrines, much less doctrines embraced without question by a great many thinkers. One can be a Kantian while rejecting Kant's position on specific issues. In fact, one's allegiance to the spirit of Kant's thought may require one to reject the letter of his views. If pictures were simply doctrines or bodies of dogma, it would be hard to see how one could be a Kantian while rejecting Kant's specific views. Ricoeur's use of the Kantian and Hegelian pictures helps us show that they are more dynamic and more flexible than we might think. It also shows us that asking what a picture can do may be quite a complex process. If Hegelianism were unchanged in doctrine, it would be relatively easy to determine that it can and what it cannot do. But because it's a fluid style of thinking, matters are much more less straightforward. As Ricoeur shows, it may take a great deal of digging, a great deal of application, to determine what the Hegelian picture is really capable of. It may require us to separate the spirit of Hegel's thought, from what he explicitly says. It may require us to ask what Hegelianism could learn from more recent developments in philosophy, from the phenomenological tradition, for example. Above all, it may require us to reject the conventional wisdom about Hegel and to reassess his thought radically. In short, doing philosophy historically involves a great deal more than revisiting familiar potted histories of the discipline. When done well, the enterprise spurs innovation and creativity in our view of the past. Second, Ricoeur shows that learning from a picture is compatible with our having new and distinctive philosophical concerns. To put it crudely, he shows that the student of Kant and Hegel can explore topics other than the ones these figures explicitly address. Ricoeur does this through his emphasis on application. For Ricoeur, to see what a picture can do is to ask what it says to us, what it reveals about the topics and debates that concerns us. These topics and debates may be ones that were familiar to the thinkers who first articulated the picture, but they need not be. Even if they are, we may frame them in ways that would have been unthinkable for earlier thinkers. Consider Ricoeur's discussion of God. He articulates a way of thinking about God that is both Hegelian and Kantian. Hegelian in its insistence of giving content to the idea of God, Kantian in its rejection of the claim to know God theoretically. In developing this view of God, Ricoeur draws on resources that were not available to Hegel or Kant. His eschatological vision of God draws on Moltmann, Schweitzer, and Weiss. His reflection on naming God draws on Gadamerian hermeneutics and his own work on narrative. But these later influences do not make his discussion of God on Hegelian or on Kantian. On the contrary, it is because Ricoeur occupies this unique perspective that he can see new possibilities for thinking about God in Hegelian or Kantian ways. Ricoeur shows that determining what a picture can do is often a matter of bringing it into new context. When we read past philosophers with an eye to present debates, we are not necessarily distorting them. We may be understanding them in deeper, truer ways.